Good afternoon, Creek. It's Coach Abel. Weekly announcements. A little bit late. It's Monday. I try to get these things to you by Sunday. I can explain why I'm a little bit late later on. But let's get into our weekly announcements. Quickly, some post-game thoughts. I thought we played a pretty good game against a pretty tough Bullitt East team, a team that had beat a couple of other really tough teams. It's always great to get a win. It's always great to get a win against a district opponent, and it's even better when you get a win against Bullitt East, okay, especially a district rival. So I think the energy was there in between the white lines. Things were a lot more positive overall, and look what happens. Positive energy begets positive results, okay? So we're going to encourage it this week against obviously a really tough opponent in Mayo. But I think overall our performance is pretty good. We're going to take what we need to take from it, and we celebrate and great, made our highlights, and now we're going to move on and get better so we can improve and move on to the next one. On the right-hand side here is a picture of a young man named Zach. I don't know him. I know some of the North Bullitt community. I know their coach relatively well. And if you guys hadn't heard, this young man had a pretty freakish, not even accident, just a freak incident occur that put him in the hospital, and he had to have emergency surgery on Friday night after North Bullitt had a huge district win against South Oldham. As when I make my PowerPoints, I normally make them Saturday or Sunday, and as of then, he wasn't doing real well, but things have turned for the better, and he seems to be in recovery. But for those of you guys, football is a brotherhood. So whether you know anybody in Bullitt County or whatever your feelings are about the school or the community or whatever, the fact remains this young man is a football player in the state, in the surrounding county, and he knows a lot of our guys and vice versa. So if you're a prayer person, make sure you keep him and his family in your prayers. If you're not a prayer person, whatever it is that you do, positive vibes or energy or whatever, I think it's nice that we extend our thoughts to that direction and hope for the best for that young man. Speaking of the best for our young man, these are our all academic team for the first 6 weeks. This is very informal. This is something that we are recognizing our guys for. These are kids that have all A's and B's through the first term. None of this is finalized, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe my son should be on this list or whatever. Maybe so. As of Friday, this was what was in the grade book. Okay, so kudos to these guys. NTI is hard. It is really tough, guys. And maybe not the content, maybe not the assignments, but the general nature of what NTI is got to be hard on 15 and 16 and 17-year-old young men. These guys are being asked to be independent. You guys are at work. You guys can't monitor their every move. And yet these guys get up and they get logged in and they get there on time and they do their assignments and they're very self-driven people. So kudos to you guys. What's even better news than this is that the list of failures or failing classes rather is smaller than this list. Now we still have some guys who haven't figured out this NTI thing yet and that are really struggling. And we've done our best to offer our support. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, there is a bit of independence that has to occur here. Some accountability and responsibility these young men have to take on for their own academic performance. With that said, if you have a guy if your kid is struggling in a class or two, or several classes for that matter, what I've found is that most of the guys that are struggling because they are not logging in to class on time. Not on time, period. They're not logging in at all. Participation isn't really supposed to be factored in to their grade, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's what's happening is the material is being covered during that synchronous time, during the time they're supposed to be logged in. And as the material is being covered, if our guys aren't logged in, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to do these assignments. And then a lot of our guys will see it and say, well, I don't know what I'm doing anyway. It's too hard. And then I'll just, no, I'm closing the computer. I'll get to it later. And it's like dishes that stack up in the sink. You fall behind, and now you've got a really, really tedious task on your hands. So I think that would be my first piece of advice is just making sure they're logged in to class, to live sessions during that synchronous time to the best of our abilities and kind of go from there. Okay, but we've offered the support. Unfortunately, we are having to, offer some hold our guys accountable with some discipline measurements and some suspensions and so forth. So hopefully these guys kind of get it together. Okay. All right. Only other young man that wasn't mentioned there is Antoine Denson. Antoine is our Scholar Athlete of the Week. Way to go, young man. Thought this guy was not going to be with the team for a while. He had a really nasty hand injury where it looked like a freaking tumor of some sort was on there after it got swollen. Luckily, it went down, and he's been able to practice, and hopefully he's playing today. But Antoine has done a great job in the classroom, and so he and Mom are going to join me for some Roosters on Tuesday night. So good job, Antoine. Schedule for this week is almost identical to what it was last week, 5:45 to 7:45. I don't plan on moving that time again until maybe we get closer to playoff time later on the end of this month. So we'll try to keep it as consistent as we can. We do want to remind guys that our virtual film meetings on Saturdays are practices, and so they need to be logged in and paying attention in order for that to count as a session, okay, count as a practice. If they miss, then obviously discipline will ensue, okay? The kickoff tonight for our Froshmore game is at 6. We're asking our guys to be there at 5. Normally our kickoffs have been 6:30. This one is scheduled for 6 o'clock, and I think most of the ones going forward are probably scheduled for 6 o'clock. Tickets are on GoFan, and I do not believe that you need a voucher for this one. If so, it'll be something that you fill out at the gate here at Fern Creek, okay? Everything that you see on the screen is very tentative. Friday at 7 against Male at Male. As of right now, it's Friday. It could be Thursday. Arrival time to Fern Creek is 4:50 p.m. Friday, or it could be Thursday. Tickets are available online at GoFan as of right now. The NFHS network is broadcasting the game for those who can't make it as of right now. Okay, and then Glycod Radio will stream the game whenever it's played. And that is probably the one thing that's guaranteed. Glycod has always done Male games for as long as I can remember. Things are very tentative and fluid because of COVID and because of what you're seeing happen around the city. It's possible we could move this thing to Thursday. It's possible that tickets won't be sold online. They would be hard copies. Again, I'm sure you guys are frustrated. You're getting pretty annoyed and probably starting to become a little impatient with this thing. I understand. I appreciate any amount of patience you can give to this particular thing. This is maybe not my decision or their decision, or it's just the circumstances for what they are. Okay, so I will tell you that everything will be set in stone by Wednesday morning. So Wednesday around noon, you should expect a message from me on the Teams app, kind of solidifying everything and letting you know what's what. But again, guys, hey, life and trials of COVID-19, life in the time of COVID-19. We have to do our best to manage the scenario. Okay. Couple more reminders. Amazon Smile. Make sure that you guys have logged into Amazon Smile and you've chosen Fern Creek Football as your nonprofit organization. That way on Prime Day is Tuesday and Wednesday. Every purchase you guys make or your friend and families make, if we are that organization, we get a kickback out of that. Okay. I think last December during the Black Friday sales, we ended up making like $600 or $700 because people used Amazon Smile for their purchases. So we encourage that. That'll be a great way for us to make some money for the program going forward. Grades are due on Wednesday of this week. These are progress grades, so this is nothing to be panicking about, but we obviously want to make sure that we're holding our kids accountable. And like I mentioned before, discipline and suspensions are occurring progressively. We're trying our best to give kids the benefit of the doubt and give kids, a little bit of leeway because NTI is so new and so weird and random. But at some point, something has to give, and there has to be progress made. And if there's not, that's when we've got to say, look, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, so you just can't play. Okay. With that said, I think I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you have standards that are above our team standards, if you are someone that says, no, my kid has to have A's and B's all the time, or he doesn't play, then let us know. The last thing that we want is for football to be used as a punishment. We want to be there and be with you in this partnership. And I specifically have found in my 12 years of doing this that you're not really doing your child any favors by saying, don't go to practice so you can get your grades up. We want to be able to show our young men that whatever commitments in life you make, whether it's a sports team or a club or a job or family or whatnot, you have to be able to juggle everything at once. Okay. And unfortunately, some people realize that my son can't do both things. So I'm going to make him, quit one thing so that he can focus on grades, because grades are important. Before we get to that point, we ask that we kind of work through this as a partnership. We have a lot of academic supports in place for our guys. So take that for what it's worth. Okay. All right. Last thing, for those of you guys that are happen to be friends with my wife on Facebook or social media, or just happen to see it through social media. My wife was responsible for making the team meal this past Friday for our young men. Okay. Fern Creek Christian Church is always doing a really good job about feeding our guys, but because of COVID-19 and all the restrictions that are on it, they haven't been able to do as much as they want to, for sure. So what I'm doing here is I'm challenging you guys to kind of step up to the plate a little bit for our next home game. Our next home game is next Friday. It is our senior night. If you are a parent of a senior, you want senior night to be incredibly special, and you have a million ideas, and you want to make sure XYZ happens and that it's a great day for them. And I'm with you. I want this to be the best possible event that we can make for these guys. Unfortunately, because of coronavirus, certain things they're just not capable of doing right now. So if you are a senior parent and you want to see senior night be great, I'm asking you guys to step up to the challenge. Let's talk about what we can do for a team meal. Let's talk about what kind of event or thing we can plan for these young men for senior night. Feel free to reach out to me. At some point, I'm going to put one of you guys in charge. We got 2 weeks to plan for this. So let's put something together. Okay. Besides that, guys, hope is greater than fear. That's all I got for you. Have a great week. Coach Abel out.